So hello and greetings. This is Dr. V.C. Soteke and I am the course faculty for the course Engineering Thermodynamics. Objectives of this video lecture is to explain first law and its significance. So these are the four laws of thermodynamics. Zeroth law of thermodynamics I have already discussed in the previous lecture. Now let us discuss first law of thermodynamics, its various aspects and significance. Now this law was formulated by Rudolf Clausius in 1850. This law is used to study the relationship among various forms of energy and energy interactions. While defining energy from thermodynamics point of view, there I have defined work and heat are the two different forms of energy. Now when energy will be called as a work, when energy will be called as a heat, I have also defined the criteria. Okay. And one form of energy can be converted into another form. Heat can also be converted into work and work can also be converted into heat. So far, none of the law has talked about this aspect, that is various forms of energy and their conversion and their interactions. So it is the first law of thermodynamics which takes care of all these energy interactions and various forms of energy. Now this law is also called as the law of conservation of energy. And what is that universal statement? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can be transformed from one form to another. So basically, in principle, first law of thermodynamics is the law of conservation of energy. Okay. So this law can be applied for following two types of systems. First law applied to closed system, that is for non-flow process. Non-flow process is the process where when process takes place, mass of the system does not cross system boundary. That is, any process taking place in a closed system is called as non-flow system. So when we apply or when we study first law of thermodynamics for a closed system, we will have two versions of it. First one, first law applied to closed system undergoing a cycle, and first law applied to closed system undergoing a change of state. Okay, so first law applied to closed system is having two versions. Closed system is undergoing cycle and closed system undergoing change of state, that is process. And when we apply first law for open system, it is having only for one version and it is for flow processes. Okay. Flow processes are the processes which takes place in open system and where mass can cross the system boundaries. So let us first start our discussion. First law applied to closed system, that is non-flow process. And in this also, let us discuss first law applied to closed system undergoing a cycle. So to explain the first law applied to closed system undergoing a cycle, let us consider an adiabatic vessel. The meaning of adiabatic vessel is the vessel which is surrounded by layer of insulation. Okay. So all the three sides of these vessels are covered by insulation, and its top cover is also insulated. This adiabatic vessel is containing a thermometer to show the temperature of the water contained initially. Let's say this is the water. And it is having a mass m. It is also containing one paddle wheel arrangement. This paddle wheel is rotated with the help of this pulley by means of this thread, and this thread is attached to this weight. Okay. So the most important thing which is worth remembering here is that the vessel is adiabatic vessel. That means it does not allow any heat transfer to take place from water to this surrounding. Okay. And this entire setup is actually called as the setup used in Joule's experiment. Joule has conducted some experiment using the similar kind of setup to observe the heat and work interactions. Okay. Now let's say initially the mass of the water is small m and its temperature is T1. And let's say the initial state of this water as thermodynamic system is represented on some property chart xy by state 1. At this point of time, I won't bother what this property y and the property x is. Okay. Now, initially, some work is done by this paddle wheel on this known mass of water having the initial temperature T1. Initially, the temperature of the water T1 will be equal to the temperature of its surrounding T1. Now, this work by the paddle wheel is done on this water when it will rotate. And it will be rotated by this pulley with the help of this thread by lowering the weight or falling of the weight. When this weight will be falling downward, the pulley will rotate and this pulley will rotate this paddle wheel. And because of the rotation of this paddle wheel, it will do some work on this water. The amount of the work done by this paddle wheel on the water can be determined by the falling of this weight. Let's say if the weight is W and it travels the distance D. Okay. So, sorry. I am representing its weight by A. So, work done will be force weight into distance. Okay. Now, because of this work done by this paddle wheel on the mass of water, the temperature of this water will start increasing. And let's say after some point of time, temperature of the water becomes T2. So what actually we have done, by lowering the weight, actually this paddle wheel is being rotated, and because of this rotation of this paddle wheel, the work is done by this paddle wheel on the water, and this caused increase in its temperature from initial temperature T1 to, let's say, final temperature T2. So state of this water as a system has changed. So whenever there is a change of state, system is set to execute process. And let's say I can represent this process on this property chart by the process 1 to 2. And during this process, work W1 to 2 is being done on the system. Now in next case, what we have done, we have removed the complete insulation. Okay. So this vessel now becomes diathermic vessel. Now it will allow heat transfer to take place from this water to the surrounding. Surrounding is at temperature T1. Water was at temperature T2 because of work done by this paddle wheel, because of falling of weight. This cover is also diathermic cover. And this process we have already shown, process 1 to 2 we have already shown on the property chart. And during this process, some work W12 is being done on the system. Now I am not doing anything with this weight. Now I have removed the insulation and the walls of the vessels are diathermic. This will allow heat transfer to take place from water to the surrounding. Okay, because T2 is greater than T1. So heat will start transferring from water to the surrounding till the temperature of the water becomes equal to the temperature of the surrounding. And the water as a thermodynamic system will return to its original or initial state by transferring heat to the surrounding. So what we have done actually, here system has executed a cycle by interaction of work during process 1 to 2 and return to its original state by interacting with its surrounding in terms of heat transfer. So system has executed a cycle. And I can give the name to this cycle as 1, 2, 1. Okay. So this way, the system has executed a cycle. There is a work transfer W12, there is a heat transfer Q21. Now this entire experiment is called as Joule's experiment. So Joule's experiment was the basis of formulation of first law of thermodynamics. So what we are going to learn from this Joule's experiment, let W12 amount of work transfer during the process 1 to 2, Q221 amount of heat transfer during the process 2 to 1. Now from the observations, it has been found that if a closed system particularly is executing a cycle by work transfer and heat transfer interaction with its surrounding, what it has been found that W12 in a cycle is directly proportional to Q21 in the cycle. That is, work transfer is directly proportional to heat transfer in a cycle undergone by closed system. If you remove sign of proportionality, you will get constant of proportionality J, where J is called as constant of proportionality and is called as Joule's equivalent or the mechanical equivalent. In SI unit, the value of J is 1 because in SI unit, the unit of work and heat transfer both are Joule. So it will be Joule, J is equal to 1. So W12 cycle is equal to Q21 cycle if I take unit of work and heat transfer as Joule. Let's say this is equation number 1. One mathematical form of first law of thermodynamics. If cycle involves many work and heat interactions, then the first law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing cycle can be given as summation of all the work transfer involved in that cycle will be equal to summation of all the heat transfer involved during that cycle. For example, let's say during process 1 to 2, these are the work transfers involved. Now, as per sign conventions, work output will be positive, work input to the system will be negative. So, W1, W2 and W4 will have positive sign and W3 will be negative sign because it is work input. Similarly, during process 2 to 1, there are 4 heat transfer involved. Again, according to sign convention, heat transfer to the system positive, heat transfer from the system negative. So Q1, Q4 will be positive and Q2, Q3 will be negative. So in this cycle undergone by the closed system, various work transfer and heat transfers are involved. So how can I write first law of thermodynamics and its mathematical form? Summation of W in a cycle 1 to 1 will be W1 plus W2 minus W3 plus W4 is equal to Q1 minus Q2 minus Q3 plus Q4. So this is another version of mathematical equation of first law. Also, cyclic integral of dW is equal to cyclic integral of dQ, where the symbol denotes the cyclic integral of the closed path. So equation 1, 2, 3, 4 are the first law of thermodynamics for a closed cycle undergoing a cycle. Now all these are mathematical statements of first law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing a cycle. Let us try to put all these mathematical equations into word form. So a statement of the first law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing a cycle will be: the heat and mechanical work are mutually convertible. When a closed system undergoes a thermodynamic cycle, the net work transfer is equal to the net heat transfer. So, heat and work, two different forms of energy, and being an energy, one form of energy can be converted into another form and vice versa. So, work can be converted into heat, heat can be converted into work. So, this is the statement of first law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing a cycle. Then second statement is there. Second version is there for a closed system. First law applied to closed system undergoing a change of state or process. So let us first have the statement of this version of first law for a closed system undergoing a process. According to this law, when a system undergoes a change of state or thermodynamic process, then both heat and work transfer takes place. And by virtue of this heat and work transfer, the net energy transfer is stored within that particular thermodynamic system, and this stored energy is known as, this net energy transfer is known as stored energy or total energy of the system. So mathematically, if dq is the infinitesimal amount of heat interaction and dw is the infinitesimal amount of work transfer, mathematically the above statement can be written as dq minus dw is equal to de. And let's say this is equation number 1. So this is the mathematical expression of this statement, what I have shown, for a closed system undergoing a process, where dq is heat transfer, and we know that heat transfer is an inexact differential, it is a path function. Here, please mind well, here I have put one arrow over here. Now what is the significance of this arrow? Putting over this quantity dq, I want to differentiate it from the dE, in the sense that dq is an inexact differential and is a path function. dw is again a work transfer and it is a path function, and also it is inexact differential. D is total energy. Sorry for the spelling mistakes. Or stored energy, and this is exact differential. That means you can write exact differential, means you can express their differential in terms of the properties at the end states. So for net transfer of energy, we have to integrate the equation 1 over the process 1 to 2. So let us integrate the equation 1 over the process 1 to 2. Now integration of dq will give me q1 to 2. Integration of dw will give me w1 to 2. Because I cannot write integration of dq as q2 minus q1. Why? Because it is inexact differential. So I have written it q suffix 1 to 2. Similarly for work transfer, w1 to 2. Now integration of d, I can write it as e2 minus e1 is equal to delta e1 to 2. That is change in energy during the process 1 to 2. Because E is a point function and point function quantities are exact differential. I can also write it as Q12 is equal to delta E plus W12. Now for a unit mass, if I divide the equation 3 by mass of the system, all these quantities will get converted into specific quantities, and specific quantities are represented by lowercase letter. So the first law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing a change of state will become Q122, small q122 is equal to delta small e plus small w12, and unit will be kilojoule per kg. Here unit will be kilojoule. Okay. So equation number 2, 3 and 4 are first law applied to closed system undergoing a change of state or process. If different heat and work transfers are involved, I can represent first law of thermodynamics by equation 5 as well. For example, it is as shown in the figure. There are different work and heat transfer involved in a system undergoing a process. So first law can be written according to the sign Q1 minus Q2 minus Q3 plus Q4, that is net heat transfer minus W1 plus W2 minus W3 plus W4. Net heat transfer is equal to change in stored energy. So equation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are first law applied to closed system undergoing process or change of state. So after defining first law for a closed system undergoing cycle and then process, what is the significance of this law? First law actually defines total energy or stored energy of thermodynamic system. Please mind well. So this is the equation we have come across in the previous slide. That is first law applied to closed system undergoing a process. Q12 is equal to Q12 minus W12 is equal to E2 minus E1 is equal to delta E1 to 2. That is change in energy during the process 1 to 2. For a unit mass, it can be written as small q1 to 2 is equal to delta small e1 to 2 plus small w1 to 2 in kilojoule per kg. Now let us discuss some various you can say versions or various aspects of this law or this equation actually. In this equation, Q12 2 is heat transfer to or from the thermodynamic system. W12 work transfer to or from the thermodynamic system. E is total energy of the thermodynamic system. And as we have discussed earlier, total energy of the system, it is also called as stored energy, is the summation of U plus KE plus P, where U is internal energy of the thermodynamic system, KE is kinetic energy of the thermodynamic system, half mc square, where m is mass of the system and c is velocity. Pe is potential energy, and it can be given by mgz, where z is the mass, where z is the height of mass m with respect to some datum. So putting the relationship for K and P into equation 1, it will become Q122 minus W122 is equal to U2 minus U1 plus half mc2 square minus c1 square plus mgz2 minus z1. So this is another way to represent first law for a closed system undergoing a process. That is replacing E, which is also called as total energy or stored energy, in terms of U, Ke and Pe. For a unit mass, it can be represented as small q122 minus small w122 is equal to small u2 minus small u1 plus half c2 square minus c1 square plus gz2 minus z1 kilojoule per kg. So equation 3 and 4 are in terms of U, Ke and Pe. Now let us take different cases. So we have come across from the previous slide, we could get this equation. Now let us consider case 1. In equation 1, when there is no change in potential energy of the system, that is system is at the same datum, during heat and work interaction. So Z1 will be equal to Z2. So equation 1 will reduce to Q12 minus W12 is equal to U2 minus U1 plus half mC2 square minus C1 square. Case 2, when no change in kinetic and potential energies, then C2 will be equal to C1 and Z2 will be equal to Z1. So equation 1 will reduce under such condition. Before equation 1, one more very important thing, total energy of the thermodynamic system will be equal to internal energy only, because we know that E is equal to U plus Ke plus P. Okay, or delta E will be equal to delta U. So when system is not moving at all and it is stationary with reference to its datum, the total energy of that system will be by virtue of its internal energy only. So under such condition, first law will be Q12 minus W12 will be equal to U2 minus U1. Okay, I can also write it as delta U1 to 2. Now in many books, the authors say this equation as a first law of thermodynamics, basic form of equation, which is wrong. This is not the first law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing a process. Q12 minus W12 is equal to U2 minus U1. Rather, it is derived form. And this equation of first law is applicable for stationary and stationary system with reference to some datum. The actual first law of thermodynamics is Q12 minus W12 is equal to delta E12. So please mind well. Above equation is known as non-flow energy equation. Then case 3 for an isolated system. Now isolated system. Isolated system is a system which does not interact with its surrounding in terms of either mass transfer or energy transfer. So there is no mass transfer and energy transfer if it is isolated system. So there will be no heat transfer or work transfer in an isolated system. So equation 1 will reduce to E2 minus E1 is equal to delta U1 to 2 will be equal to 0, or E2 is equal to E1, or E is equal to constant. Okay, what does it mean? The total energy of an isolated system is always constant because it is neither exchanging mass nor energy in terms of heat and work. So its total energy will always be constant. Okay, so this way I can get various forms of first law for a closed system undergoing process. So with this, after watching this video, you will be able to explain first law and its significance, various aspects and various forms of first law applied to closed system undergoing either cycle or process. With this, I come to an end of this video lecture. Thank you for your kind attention and enthusiastic participation. Happy learning.